Now the attention returns to Minimax for our third and final race here on Saturday. And the grid is as follows. Montego Masson will have Austin Lee alongside for close company on the front row. Then it's Mikko Mikov and Tom Müller, with Jonas Ungnader and David Schnell rounding out the top 3 rows. Then it's Leandro Fischer and Moritz Wolber completing the top 4 rows, with Hugo Güttel and David Girush completing the top 10. Adrien Rohr, and we got the number 191 of Bretag just alongside, with Mika Trapp and Maximilian Schreier completing the top 14. 14 drivers set to go into battle once again for 9 minutes plus an additional lap. So we come into the final phase of the rolling start. The formation lap almost completed here for Minimax for the third and final race of the day. So they now make their way around the final corner, through into the tram lines. They push the accelerators to the floor. It's red lights out and we're off and racing. And it looks like Mikov has got the jump on Austin Lee, or has he, as Lee keeps it around the outside, trying to battle away for second position. And Lee manages to get through, but Ungnader, oh, there's been a spin. And that was Leandro Fischer around at the back part of the field. So double waved yellows off of turn number 2 as the field makes its way through the chicane. So Fischer had a turnaround, the back end stepped out and put the driver 180 degrees pointing in the wrong direction. So Montego Masson leads, Austin Lee looking to move up once again. And is closing on the 111 for the lead of the race. So after the completion of lap number 1, Masson leads from Lee. Ungnader, Müller, Schnell, Mikov, Wolber, Güttel, Schreier and Trapp round out the top 10 positions. So Leandro Fischer will sit by the sidelines, unfortunately, for the next few moments. Kart is out of the way of racing, as the driver is also out of harm's way. David Girush all the way down the order and looked to be the one that also had been compromised ever so slightly. But Ungnader and Müller trying to close in on Austin Lee for second position. But the battle for the lead quite clearly on. Masson looks over the left shoulder ever so briefly. So the drivers now fills their way through into the first hairpin. Lee still ahead at the minute in second. Third is Ungnader, then it is Tom Müller. David Schnell, Mikko Mikov, Moritz Wolber, Hugo Güttel, Maximilian Schreier and Mika Trapp round out the top 10. Then it is Rohr, Bretag and Girush, who still are circulating. And Ungnader has got past Austin Lee for second position. Now the chase to try and keep pace with Montego Masson. And at the moment, Masson leads by just over 0.6 of a second. Austin Lee in third, Tom Müller in fourth. David Schnell rounds out the top 5. Masson last time had a lead of just over 0.6 of a second on Ungnader. Fastest lap of the race is the driver leading the way, Montego Masson, on a 49.682 second lap time. Ungnader nearly 1/10 adrift. Austin Lee coming under pressure now from Tom Müller in the 122. They make their way through the last part of the circuit. Masson comes round the final corner, continues to lead after lap 4. Ungnada trying to break the toe is now for Austin Lee, who now still has Tom Müller right on the back bumper. Müller looked towards the inside ever so briefly through the hairpin through turn 3. Now through the chicane. Müller loses a little bit of ground to Austin Lee and decides not to use the curves like a lot of the drivers are doing. And sometimes that can unsettle the kart on the back end, especially if wheel goes up in the air. So we've got just under 5 minutes of this race plus an additional lap still remaining. Maassen has led races all the way through this weekend, but the gap is not as much as it has been in the first 2 races. The gap between Maassen and Ungnada as Austin Lee puts in the fastest lap of the race. 49.424 second lap time from the 107 from kartchemie.de. Tom Müller did a 49.621. That was 0.173 of a second slower than Austin Lee. So Austin Lee has extended the gap to nearly 0.3 of a second between himself and the 122. Looks like David Schnell has got past Mikko Mikov for position, and that is for 5th place. Moritz Volber trying to keep pace with the 2 in front. Adrien Rohr rounds out the top 10 just behind Mika Trapp. Bretag in 11th, Maximilian Schreier and David Girush complete the 13 that are still running after what will be lap number 7 very shortly when Montego Maassen crosses the line once again. There's still time in this race for drivers to close up 4 positions. Tom Müller closes up on Austin Lee by a fraction as Montego Maassen once again sets the fastest lap of the race, a 49.275, as Schreier goes up the inside of Bretag through turn 1 for 11th position. And the gap now between Maassen and Ungnada, now just over 3/4 of a second. Austin Lee, about 0.6 of a second adrift thereof. Müller just over 1/10 behind Austin Lee and is still chasing down the 107 for 3rd place. 8 laps completed. With the top 8 covered by about 6.1 seconds from front to rear bumper. Just 2 minutes remain on the clock. And Maassen still has the advantage. Ungnada still in second. Lee and Müller. That's the top 4. Schnell in the 112 completes the top 5 and is over 2 seconds adrift from Tom Müller. His time is fast running out. Maassen looking to extend that gap even further and extends it by over 2/10. Pumps in the fastest lap of the race, a 49.128. As Mika Trapp and Adrien Rohr battling away over 9th position, go nearly side by side through turns 1 and 2. So just under 60 seconds of the race remaining. David Schnell being closed in on by Mikko Mikov and Moritz Volber. Maassen now comes round the final corner to complete the 10th lap. 49.158 seconds was the lap time as Tom Müller looks towards the inside of Austin Lee through turn 1. Müller can't get it through. Still has to wait and bide time to see if the door will open. And he's right on the back bumper of Austin Lee, going through into the chicane. As Mikko Mikov now pressurising David Schnell. With Trapp and Her still battling away, and that is over what is 9th position as the timer fast ticking away. We will hit 0 very shortly before Montego Masson comes round the final corner, which the 111 will do now and get the last lap board. Ungnada, Lee and Müller ran at the top 4, followed by Mikov, who's got past Schnell. Volper in 7th, Gütel in 8th. Maassen had a lead at the last time around of over 2.2 seconds. Put in a 49.15 second lap time. On that particular occasion, no one has had a response for the 111 so far throughout proceedings. But Ungnada closely being followed by Lee and Müller. But after this, one more corner remains. Montego Masson in the 111 does it again here at Wittgenborn. Ungnada takes 2nd, Lee 3rd, Müller 4th. Mikov rounds out the top 5. Ahead of David Schnell, Moritz Volper and Hugo Gütel. It looks like Mika Trapp will take 9th ahead of Adrian Höhr. Schreier takes 11th as Girush beats Bretag to the finish line. With Nevio Fischer unfortunately finishing literally his race abruptly at the very beginning.